The White House announced this week a surge of signups for Obamacare, but that didn't stop 5 Democratic senators and 1 independent, some of them facing tough re-election battles this fall, from offering several big changes to Obamacare. Joining us now from Maine, Angus King, an independent, one of the senators proposing those fixes. And here in studio, Wyoming Senator John Barrasso, a GOP leader and a doctor. Well, the White House announced this week more than 6 million people now total have signed up for private health insurance on the exchanges, including 1.8 million so far just in March. But they still have no numbers for how many people have paid for coverage, how many so-called young invincibles have signed up, nor how many people have signed up who were previously uninsured. Senator Barrasso, given that, how much does this 6 million number actually mean?
I don't think it means anything, Chris. I think they're cooking the books on this. People want to know the answers to that. They also want to know is, once all this is said and done, what kind of insurance will those people actually have? Will they be able to keep the doctor that they want? How much more is it going to cost them? And we know that some of the best cancer hospitals in the country want very little to do with people that actually buy this insurance on the Obamacare exchanges.
Let's stick. Wait. Let me ask a question first, Senator, and then I'm going to bring you in on exactly that issue, because while the White House is not offering numbers on some of those internal issues, their insurance companies and some private studies have offered some numbers, and let's put those up on the screen. The administration said they needed 38% of the risk pool to be young, healthy people. So far, it looks like they're only a quarter of the enrollees. Studies have found only 27% of those who've signed up were previously uninsured, and up to 23% of the 6 million figure haven't paid yet. Senator King, aren't those big holes in this 6 million number that the administration is touting?
Well, in the first place, I checked the numbers this morning. It's now 6,563,000, 6.5 million. Just in the last few days, there were 500,000 people on the call centers on Friday and 1.5 million on the website. And those numbers don't come from the White House. There's a wonderful website, acasignups.net, private website by a guy named Charles Gaba, who's collecting data from all across the country. So there really is a huge surge. Number two, the president of WellPoint, which is one of the big national insurance companies, said a couple of weeks ago that the sign-ups are getting younger by the day. In other words, younger people, not surprisingly, are the last people to sign up. I suspect that's who's signing up today and tomorrow. And so I think the data is making a lot of difference. As far as how many people have actually paid, the numbers are going up on that.
If I can just ask you, though, but what about the number that are uninsured, which seems to be about a quarter, and what about the number that haven't paid, which is also about a quarter?
Well, the McKinsey & Company did that 25% uninsured. The only real numbers we have are from New York and Kentucky. In Kentucky, it's 75% of the people signing up were previously uninsured. In New York, 59%. So those numbers are going to sort themselves out over time. But, you know, there's no denying it. They're probably going to make that 7 million target, which was set, you know, a couple of years ago. Nobody, 2 months ago, if you'd have asked me, I'd have said there's no chance, because the rollout was so bungled.
All right. Tomorrow was supposed to be, and when we booked you, we thought this was because tomorrow was the drop-dead date for open enrollment, and it's certainly what administration officials said over and over. Take a look.
The enrollment deadline, which was set out to end March 31st, will end March 31st.
March 31st is the deadline for enrollment. You've heard us make that clear.
Open enrollment ends on March 31st, and in fact, we don't actually have the statutory authority to extend the open enrollment period in 2014.
But this week, the administration made what the Wall Street Journal says was the 38th unilateral change in Obamacare, creating a special enrollment extension for people who claim that they've had a problem signing up. Senator King, how can they do that when you just heard this top CMS official admit they don't have the statutory authority to do it?
I don't think there's any inconsistency here. They're not opening it up to new people. Here in Maine, at 8 o'clock p.m. on election night, if you're in line to vote, even if it takes you a half hour to get there, you get to vote. They don't close you out. This is exactly the same thing. People are in line. They've started the process of signing up. Sometimes it takes a day or two to go through all the paperwork or the computer work. This is not extending the enrollment for new people who say, oh, I forgot. These are people that are already in the line, and that's just common sense. I mean, we do that all the time. I think the best example is people in line to vote.
Senator Barrasso, it may be messy, but if the point is to get more people coverage, health insurance, why not let them have more time to sign up?
Because it doesn't deal with the issue of actually getting people care. People wanted health care reform so they could get the care they need from a doctor they choose at lower cost. And what we see is even those signing up are finding out many of them are seeing higher premiums, can't keep their doctor, can't keep their hospital. In the state right next to Senator King's in New Hampshire, 10 of the 28 hospitals are excluded from all the exchanges in New Hampshire. In Senator King's own state, the most popular individual market plan prior to this is now not able to be sold anymore because it didn't meet the Obamacare standards. So those are concerns that I hear about every weekend. So what we're seeing now are kind of politicians trying to save their political careers instead of focusing on patient care.
Well, that certainly brings me back to you, Senator King. You've joined, as we mentioned at the beginning, with 5 Democratic senators to propose major changes to Obamacare. Let's put them up. They include offering a new, lower-cost, higher deductible. You know, we have the gold, silver. This would be the copper plan. And you would also exempt companies with up to 99 workers instead of 50 from the employer mandate. But, and here's the rub, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid has already said he's not going to allow a vote on these changes. So, to take Senator Barrasso's point, isn't this really, I know you're not up for re-election in November, but some of your colleagues here are, so that they can go back to the voters at home and say, hey, we tried to fix it?
No, look, I've been in all of those meetings and talking about it, and I've never seen a piece of legislation yet that was perfect. In fact, the United States Constitution, probably the most perfect piece of legislation ever devised by the mind of man, has been amended 27 times. I think it's time to try to fix it. And in fact, that's what the public wants. There's a recent poll on Kaiser Family Foundation, KFF.org, probably the gold standard of polls. What it says is by 2 to 1, 59% to 29%, the people of America want us to fix this law, not repeal it. And that's what we're trying to do. Now, I don't know, Harry, I'll be talking to Harry tomorrow, you know. Maybe
well, I was going to say, how do you
change his mind?
Two points, if I may, sir. One, then why is Harry Reid saying he's not going to allow a vote on the fixes? And two, speak directly and briefly, because we're about to run out of time, to Senator Barrasso's comment about the fact that a lot of doctors, a lot of hospitals are being excluded by what Obamacare is offering.
No, now that's a big, you know, there's no such thing as Obamacare. You can't sign up for Obamacare. You sign up for an Anthem policy or an Aetna policy or a WellPoint policy. It's private insurance, and private insurance companies have been doing closed networks for years. I do think there's a problem. If John Barrasso wants to join me in co-sponsoring a bill to have more transparency so people can know exactly who's covered and who's not covered by the various policy options, I'm all for it. But, you know, I think this thing of you can't keep your doctor, and there is a problem in New Hampshire because there's only one carrier on the exchange. I think that's the only state in the country like that. I looked up, I played a game and looked up John's situation. If you're in Laramie, Wyoming, and you make $50,000, have 2 kids, mom, dad, 2 kids, there are 16 different policy options you have, ranging in premium from $67 a month to $800 a month.
All right, let me bring in. We're running out of time, Senator. Let me bring you in, Senator Barrasso. Final word.
Well, a couple of things. Let's not be fooled here. What Angus is offering in his legislation only nibbles around the edges. It doesn't get to the fundamental flaws of the president's health care law. The Democrats are unnerved. They have pushed the panic button. The president says this is working. It is broken. And people say, can you fix it? I've looked at this 10 different ways, Chris. This health care law is not fixable.
We're going to leave it there. Obviously, to be continued, Senator Barrasso, Senator King, thank you both. Thanks for joining us, and we'll stay on top of this, gentlemen.
Thanks for having me.